another episode of Jason Ghost Hunter. Do apologise the noise because we're kind of in the middle of Parramatta City, so we do apologise. But we're here to explore, we're the first ones, Brislington Hospital Museum. Now this place was originally a house built by a convict known as John Hodges, who won a card game at the pub across the road for only £1,000 in gold, which would have been big money back then. And he built this, and he owned lots of property in the area, but he had a really interesting story himself, and we've also got the records in there of his story, like of what he's been sentenced for. But because he won the card game, he had the convicts that he had built the house put etching of a card on the brickwork. Now this was built in 1821, so it's got lots of history. It's actually had lots of doctors live in there. It's known as a hospital museum, and there's, your mind will boggle when you see inside. So I won't talk too much. We've got a historian in there that's willing to share some information. So it's going to be a history part paranormal video tonight, but we hope you enjoy. We're really excited. This is the Parramatta Courthouse as you see it now, but that was the original site of the Woolpack Hotel where John Hodges won his lucky card game of £1,000 in gold, which is now across this street. So the stone, the original stones that were laid here, the stone was laid on May the 1st, 1901 by the Honourable John C, Premier of the state of New South Wales. And then you've got another one here. Can't see the date, it's in that weird marble. But then you've got another one. The stone was laid by Dr. James Keeney, President of the Parramatta District Hospital in 1924. And this stone was laid by His Excellency Viscount Hampden, Governor of New South Wales in 1896. Now, this house, it was known as the house. The historian will tell you the story of why it's called the Brislington. And yeah, it was known as a house, and then it was changed by many things. So we'll hear all about it there. We just want to show you the original etching that we have of the card that he had the convicts carve on the brick in memory of his lucky card game.
There.
Oh yeah, there's the diamonds. There was originally 8, and there's been some restoration work on the outside because the lucky card was the 8 of diamonds. And the old well, it's now filled. Now there is a rumour that this house had a tunnel going all the way to the pub underneath. We know John Hodges was a bit of a character that was into a lot of sly grog and other practices, so we'll hear more about his story when we talk to the historian. There's actually a stone here presented by E.A. Box Esquire to the Parramatta District Hospital and erected to the memory of Dr. James Kearney, an unselfish worker for this hospital who practiced his profession in this town for nearly 50 years and whose qualities of heart and mind endeared him to the people. Be a well-wisher by giving a coin to the Parramatta District Hospital. Well, that's something I will have to do.
Oh, original, guys.
Yeah. Says this Brislington house erected in 1821. The restoration of the surrounds of this building and opening for public use was a joint project between the Board of Parramatta Hospitals and the Parramatta City Council, supported by the Heritage Council of New South Wales, and was officially opened on the 3rd of July 1982 by His Worship the Mayor of the City, Parramatta, Alderman S.C. Dixon. And then you've got all the chairmen. It said it is open to the public, and if you're into history and you live near Parramatta or in New South Wales, recommend you come down and check this place out. Also, we'll put an email on the link if there's any other paranormal investigators or historians that's interested in doing a vlog here. You can contact these people.
Hey guys.
Hi, this is Fred Hetherington, and he is the chairman of volunteers that run this museum, this hospital museum, and he's going to tell us today the history of John Hodges and his story, and also about the building. So I hope you enjoy. Plus, if you're interested in coming down here to have a tour yourself, please, we'll leave you the contact number and email for the Brislington Museum, and you're more than welcome to contact them. They'd be happy to hear from you.
So, okay, thanks. Our mobile phone number is 04037 64070. Just leave a message and we will get back to you. Our email is info@brislington.net, and we also do have a website, and we also have a Facebook page. So if you just type in Brislington, either Brislington House or Brislington Nursing and Medical Museum, that will take you to us. So would you like me to start with the story?
Well, we need to start the story, and then after that we'll start walking around. So what can you tell us about this place?
Okay, so originally this area where Brislington stands, which is on the corner of George and Marsden Streets in Parramatta, in front of the Western Sydney Trial Courts, which is a little bit ironic considering the history of John Hodges and this area. This area was originally convict housing, and in 1817, a gentleman by the name of John Hodges, we'll use the word gentleman very loosely, who had been transported to Australia for life after he was originally sentenced to death at the Old Bailey. He won £1,000 in gold at the Woolpack Hotel, which is on the other side of the street directly from us. They moved the Woolpack diagonally a lot later, but he won £1,000 in gold. He bought a quarter-acre block of land and he built Brislington House. And the reason he did that was he was told that if he wanted to have a pub licence or hotel licence in Parramatta, he had to own a house of substantial gain. So, he built this house. He didn't personally build it, he employed people. And this house was completed in 1821. And as you will see in the shots that have gone round on the outside, he actually had the builder put 8 black diamond shapes in the back wall. Unfortunately, only 6 survive, to commemorate that he won his £1,000 with the 8 of diamonds playing euchre. And there was a story in the local newspaper in 1817 about his winnings. So that's where we get that bit of interest from. So just over here.
What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll keep talking. So
Yeah.
he'll explain to me as we go.
And we'll just show you around.
Okay, so if we swing round to the front door, this building has state heritage listing, and several of the reasons that it's on the state heritage roster is the doorway and the front door. But yes, it has been painted, but in heritage colours repainted. But basically, all your glass, it's the original glass.
Wow.
We're not quite sure about the name of one of the reds in this glass. We've all had many conversations, but it's from 1820, 1821. And then if you swing round this way past me, and you go up the staircase, this is the original staircase. So all that's been done to this
It's carpet.
is it's been carpeted. All right. And you can see, just see how big all these are. You know, this is how solid. So remember, this house
Beautiful.
is 202 years old. Well, this is a doctor's examination table from the 1800s. See the leather? The leather has got very good age on it. But what I want to actually draw your attention to is this, the grounds of Brislington. So after John Hodges lost this building, it went through several pairs of hands. Until in 1857, Walter Brown came out from Bristol, where he'd studied as a doctor, to set up practice in Australia. And he was born in a village called Brislington, hence where this place got its name from. It was originally just known as the house. And there was himself, his son, and his grandson were doctors. And the room that was standing in, this colonial room, was actually their doctor's surgery. Behind Julie there that's where the patients used to come in.
Wow.
And we know this for a fact because one of their descendants came here 10 or 11 years ago who actually grew up in this house. The rest of the building was the family house, and she was able to tell the volunteers that this was the doctor's surgery. So we have the Brown family, 3 generations here. At the same time, we had a lot of eminent doctors here in Parramatta. And Isaac Waugh was the first of 4 generations who actually were doctors at Parramatta Hospital. We had George Hogarth Pringle, and I'll talk about him in a minute. That's him there when he was in Australia. And if you go down to the bottom, that picture, that group picture, he's in the back row, he's in the middle of the 3 at the back, and he's got his hand on somebody's shoulder. That person is Joseph Lister. And Joseph Lister is one of the forefathers of antiseptic medicine.
Wow.
Right? And he invented the Lister carbolic spray, and there's a very good story about that being used here in Parramatta. But just for those just on the historical side of things, when Walter Brown arrived in Parramatta, the area that he covered, I think, a bigger area than some of the other doctors, but his area of responsibility was Penrith to Windsor to Ryde to Liverpool.
It's mad. Big.
Right? And his wife Sigismunda used to accompany him when they went out to do their rounds, hold their clinics, do whatever. There were always, any of the doctors were bailed up by bushrangers.
Oh, yeah.
So Walter Brown got permission from the governor to raise a militia unit. And the militia unit used to accompany whichever doctor went out. That stopped them getting robbed. So, and we have, this table is from the boardroom. We have information on the hospital. I will talk about the hospital outside because we've got some nice drawings.
And there's some original artifacts.
But all these artifacts, something that surprised me is there's actually a set of cups, you know, cupping,
Yeah.
which they do a lot in Asia.
They do.
This is an 18th century set of cupping glasses. So you're talking about the 1700s. So they practiced cupping
back then.
right?
Well, they're bringing a lot of the old practices, aren't they? Because they
Yeah.
used to use leeches too.
Yes,
And
they
they're
do.
bringing them back.
And maggots.
Yes.
Maggots to clean wounds. So all these artifacts are from the 19th century.
Well, the old enema thing, that wouldn't have been comfortable. Sorry.
No. We are in a medical museum, medical and nursing museum.
I'm cringing just looking at it. I'm going, oh.
Well, look at the old dentist drill.
So this
It was
could be my
foot-driven.
phobia.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the drill that doesn't really change. It's just so lot more efficient. So we have a lot of reading material in here based on the Browns, based on midwifery. We have ophthalmic stuff.
And the original wheelchair.
That wheelchair is from 1900. That was actually found abandoned at Mount Rood Hospital when they were doing some work in one of the outhouses, and it was destined for the tip.
Really?
And the gentleman that keeps an eye on the maintenance files here, Joe, the guy showed it to him and he said, "Don't throw it out. I'll ask the guys at Brislington if they'll take it." And
They took it.
we took it and cleaned it up. And it looks beautiful. That's the youngest artifact in this room.
Wow.
So I will talk about the hospital, because this building, whilst it was never a hospital, was linked with the hospital. The first hospital in Parramatta was up near the river, further up Marsden Street, 1790, and if you actually have a look at this drawing, you can see basically it's a tent with a thatched roof. There were two dwellings, and you can actually see one of the figures is actually being dragged into the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was not a good place. It was a convict hospital. And as I joke, it was based on a winning design, because that's basically what Sydney Hospital looked like, the first. Because they had no materials, that's what they did. Bulk of the patients in there had dysentery, typhoid, things like that, because of the water. It was actually described by the governor as a wretched place. And they replaced it very quickly with a hospital which we don't have a drawing of. It didn't last too long, and in 1818 Macquarie approved the building of the Colonial Hospital, and it actually looks quite nice.
Yeah.
It's got verandas, it's quite sturdy, 2 wards, had a garden, etc. 1896 they built this. This hospital had a theatre in it.
Wow.
The doctors in Parramatta pushed to get a theatre, because none of these hospitals had theatres. Major operations they used to do up in Old Government House. Minor stuff they did on the dining room table. And in their application to get a theatre, they said, it's really not fair on the patients coming in after we've operated and the dining room table still has blood and the floor and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
1943, which is Jeffrey House, was commissioned, and Parramatta was ultimately replaced by Westmead. Parramatta closed as an acute hospital on the 1st of January 1982. It became geriatric and rehab, but was closed down in the 1990s. And now Jeffrey House is clinics and community health.
And this house was originally a nursing home once too, was
It
it?
was a nurses' home, which I will talk about upstairs. Nurses used to live here, student nurses, after this era, because when they built this hospital,
Yeah.
the need for nurses was a lot bigger. So that's basically Parramatta Hospital. We're now standing in the Brown Room, which is our most recent attraction. It's called the Brown Room after the Brown family. And this is all about medical history in Parramatta. The Brown family, as I say, you've got Walter Sigismund, you've got Keith Sigismund, MacArthur Brown, 3 generations. This was their family home and their practice and we've got information on other doctors. You've got the three Jeffrey brothers who practiced here, and that's who Jeffrey House is named after. But if we swing around to the back, here's history. We have a list of all the doctors that were here in Parramatta from 1790 to 1900. And there's some very, very interesting stories there. But what I want to interlink is Walter Brown, who was a very good surgeon and was very good at ovarian surgery in his time, and Isaac Waugh, who was also a very good surgeon. I want to talk about two cases of theirs. One was Prince Alfred, Queen Victoria's son, which, for those that work at Prince Alfred, you're told how it came into being. For those that don't know, Prince Alfred was on a tour of Australia. There was an attempted assassination on him at Clontarf Beach.
I know this story.
Right, he was shot in the abdomen, the bullet hit the spine, lodged to there. He was actually, the day after, he was brought out to Parramatta, to Old Government House, and Isaac Waugh and Walter Brown, along with the medical team that who were accompanying him, operated on him in Old Government House.
Wow.
They did a good job. He went home. Subsequently, Queen Victoria sent money to Australia for the establishment of a hospital in memory of her son surviving. And that's how we ended up with Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, which is in Missenden Road. Wow. The same two doctors, Isaac Waugh and Walter Brown, were involved, and there's the story of the shooting of Prince Alfred. There was a lady presented to Parramatta Hospital with an abdominal mass. They took her up to Old Government House because there were bigger windows, same with Prince Alfred, and they put a table near it and they could operate, plenty of light, clean it down a bit. Operated on this lady, and they took out a 14-pound cyst, which is the size of a football.
Jeez.
Now, if you think back in those days, surgery like that, a lot of people didn't survive.
No.
If they did survive, they ended up with an infection. And so this is where young George Hogarth Pringle comes into the story. As I said, next door, he studied at Edinburgh University, and his tutor was Joseph Lister. Joseph Lister had invented the carbolic acid spray.
Wow.
So they sprayed this on the lady's wounds and every time on her dressings, and every time they changed the dressing, they sprayed it. She didn't get an infection.
Wow.
And she actually died of a goodly age.
Oh, that's good.
So that's two surgical stories that connect Parramatta Hospital, Brislington, because of the Brown connection, and Old Government House. So even in Parramatta, you have that thread through some of our historical properties.
Wow. And I think the shooting of Prince Alfred was a gentleman named Vile that saved him, and his grave is in Rookwood, and I covered that on Cemeteries Down Under. So.
Yep. So here in the Brown Room, we're actually filming the cap of honour that belonged to Walter Sigismund Brown. He went to England to study medicine, Guy's Hospital. That's his sporting cap from 1882-83. In those days, there was not a medical school in Australia. And round to the left is his son, Keith Sigismund MacArthur Brown, who graduated from Sydney University. That's his graduation gown and cap from 1916. These were donated by the Brown family. And in actual fact, when we had our bicentenary last year, which was a year late because of COVID, we actually had several members of descendants of the Brown family come to our ceremony, and I actually took them on a tour. And it's rather ironic because as families get bigger, you find they'd never met each other. They were all related, they were all distant cousins. They sort of knew, but had never. So they had a tour, so they were able to see, and in fact, Two of the girls that came, their grandparents actually got married in front of Brislington in the grass.
Oh, that would have been beautiful.
So,
All right, we're going to show you upstairs.
so we're on the stairway. These are all pictures, etc., from the hospital. That's the Rose Butler plaque. Rose Butler was the matron for only 3 years. She died young. And the student nurses, there was actually a prize in her name, the Rose Butler Prize, which was for the best practical nurse. And my wife won that because 1 year, because she was a student here. Down here we have in memory of Alexander Cutler, and underneath Carter and Grace Carter. And Grace Carter was a female anaesthetist 100 years ago.
Wow.
So I will turn the lights on.
Oh, whoa.
It's a board. That like a board. Okay.
It's the equipment from an operating theatre.
And now that's the next one. This is the nurse's room first.
Oh, well.
Wow.
So this room is dedicated to the nurses, and I always draw people's attention to this photograph taken in 1905. Top left hand side. That is actually the nursing staff of the hospital, including the matron. And then as you scan over the years, as nursing became more entrenched, you see bigger and bigger groups. So you can see
How it started.
got bigger. What people have to realise that prior to Florence Nightingale, there was no such thing as trained nurses. And in actual fact, Florence Nightingale did send nurses out, went to Sydney Hospital, I believe some came here, they were called Nightingale nurses. So they came out to train and build up the standard.
Look at the uniforms even.
Yeah.
Imagine working in one of those. When I started, it was the old pantyhose and...
Well, we've got uniforms next door. Over here is the matrons of Parramatta District Hospital, and the first trained nurse wasn't until 1876.
Wow.
So for 86 years, they'd been in a hospital without a trained nurse. The last matron here was Betty Schofield. I became director of nursing. So now this is First World War. So this display is about Parramatta nurses in the First World War. And to the right is a World War I field kit.
Wow.
We have lots of syringes.
One field kit.
So that's it, with the bandages and everything.
I'll tell you what, it kept well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel watched up here.
And over here is the Granville train disaster.
Oh, wow.
Yep, my sister missed that train, otherwise she would have been part of it. She was running late to work.
Yes.
And she was running late, so she thought, I'll take the next train, and lo and behold.
And we've actually, she'd kill me for saying this, but that photograph over there is Margaret Warby, who was awarded the Queen's Gallantry Medal for her services on that day. She was a theatre sister here in CSD. She's also a volunteer here.
I've got a picture like that of my mum. My mum came to Australia in 1956 and she trained as a nurse. And a photo, almost replica, same uniform.
Yeah. Now here at the back of this, this is one of my wife's friends, she actually talked her into doing this about the day of the Granville train disaster, because she was doing a midwifery. They called them up to ED, and Jenny, when she finally finished this, realised that all these years later it still affected her. She'd never thought that it did, but in its own subtle way.
It would. For the ones that don't know about the Granville train disaster, I'll put a little edit in there telling you the story. It was a horrific event back in 1977 where a commuter train was squashed by an overhead bridge that had collapsed on the train. It was full of people commuting to work, and it was just a horrible tragedy, and many people died. And it was just quite a horrible event.
In 1949, this became a nurses' home. And here we actually have some stories from there were very young ladies in those days who actually lived here. Pat's now 83, 84. She's one of our volunteers. That's her story. That's a very young Pat. She just looks a bit older. Then we have Lynn, who's also one of the other volunteers. Lynn's in her 70s. Lynn has not really changed. It's just age. You could look at her and you say, yes, that's definitely Lynn. So they lived here, and there are other stories here. So they lived in all the rooms here. There's all sorts of stuff on nursing. So this is why this is called the nursing room. Now, Julie is excited to see this. This is the theatre.
Wow.
And Julie, have you had any surgery done?
Yes.
So you know how when you're in the ante-room, they put a warm blanket on you before they wheel you into theatre?
I usually ask for drugs first because I'm
Yes.
a bit of a nervous person. I'm good at being a nurse, but when it comes to the patient side of things, no.
So they didn't do that in 1920. In 1920, just feel this operating table.
Oh, no way.
No.
But they used to put warm water in the table,
Oh,
and that's how
they kept it warm.
kept it warm. So this operating table is around about 1920. Right? Okay. And this is a little thing. It was in the early days surgery. They used to sell tickets for people to watch operations.
Wow.
Because people were keen, they'd go in and see. I believe somebody told me that the fastest below the knee amputation was something like 10 or 11 seconds. Right? This is pre-anesthetics and all the rest of it. Unfortunately, the assistant surgeon didn't get his fingers out of the way quick enough and lost his fingers, and then got septic and died. But they used to very quickly cut through the muscle and tissue and then use a saw, because they had to get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, to stop blood loss.
Stop blood loss and also
Shock.
So if we swing over here, I'll get out of the way because you don't want me.
Oh, you're right.
No, because my reflection's in there.
That's all right.
Get up close. These are all operating instruments that are actually used in the hospital. And we have a variety of surgical specialties. So we have colorectal, we have orthopedic, we have gynecological, we even have respiratory stuff. So.
And it feels heavy in here. Do you feel?
Yeah, very heavy.
It's got it might not be an actual person that lived here that's haunting, but it could be an attachment to one of the equipment. Because you got to think how many people died on that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And, no one would really know how many successes and how many failures happened on there, because accidents happen every day, and not everyone pulls through an operation.
And this is another operation table too, isn't it?
This is, more recent. This is sort of 60s.
Wow.
That's kind of like a physio table now.
Yeah. I mean, look, What's really changed is the equipment. So that's uniforms through the ages. In fact, when Westmead celebrated its 40th anniversary, we lent them the uniforms because of course they had nothing going back for a display. It's different types of catgut, horsehair, surgical ligament stuff, and earlier defibrillators. Nowadays you see the defibrillators that they have in shopping centres.
Interesting, they got horsehair
Yeah.
and kangaroo tendons. Wow. These sutures, they made sutures out of kangaroo tail tendons. So they made stitches.
Yeah.
And catgut stitches from natural fibres found in the walls of animal intestines, sheep, goat, occasionally made from the intestines of cattle, horses or donkeys. Wow. Could you imagine that?
Early anaesthetics. Ether, chloroform, going down to these birds machines, these ventilators that were used in the 70s. A lot of people have never seen these up close. I actually had a lady from Hong Kong who was a cardiothoracic anaesthetist, and she had only ever seen pictures of this stuff. She was very excited when she saw this and took a whole pile of photos to send back to her friends in Hong Kong.
It's a treasure trove.
It's all very early stuff.
And you wouldn't find them anywhere now.
No.
Unless, like a doctor kept it in the family, you know, like as a heirloom or something.
Okay, so our last room is the ward.
Yep.
So, and another dentist drill there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Again, foot pedal.
Wow. Yeah, it's called a nut. They'd have to knock me out.
So we're now in the nurse's room. So actually the patient's room. And this is the training dummy from 60s and 70s.
Wow.
So, this is her, and if you actually get in very close, you see a little red tracheostomy.
Oh,
So this is how
is that
the,
a trackie?
so that's how they train the trachea. Also a little bit of homage to obstetrics, which is behind.
And some cute little babies.
Prior to sort of the 40s, you either had your baby at home or you had it in a lying-in
Yeah.
establishment. So there were a few homes around here, which is where ladies had their babies. So there was only a maternity unit here for 30 odd years, which was down the back near O'Connell Street.
Yep.
So that's the information we have on that and stuff. I actually started my working career in a county obstetric hospital. So, not that I was involved terribly much in
Yeah.
that side of things, but we have all these.
I find it all fascinating. Well, after nursing homes, I did work in palliative for a long time.
Right.
And then after that, then I worked in emergency in CCU. But I only worked in maternity one night, and that was the worst night of my life. I would rather work with exits any day. They're so small and fragile, and the
Yeah.
parents are looking at you like they're going to thump you any minute. I was so nervous, I couldn't wait for the night to end. So, yeah.
So, Julie's just told me, this is for turning patients. Julie's just told me that she'd actually worked in coronary care. So this would interest this display here. Up until the 1970s, patients who'd had infarcts were on bed rest. But they found that once they got up after their bed rest, a lot of them re-infarcted and dropped dead.
Yeah.
So one of the Doreen, who was in charge of coronary care, and that's her getting her OAM down there, went on a study tour and came back and said, what we need to do is we need to get patients up and very gently exercise. And so we had the first cardiac rehab clinic was established here in Parramatta.
Oh, wow.
So this is the story of that, and that was in the late 70s. We did a lot of fundraising, and just as an aside, well, you'll be going home tonight through Balcombe Hills. We actually did a bed race from the Bull and Bush to here
Oh my goodness.
on a Sunday morning. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that on a Sunday, there was about 6 or 8 teams that we could actually push a bed down the middle, or beds down the middle of Windsor Road and not be in danger from traffic.
That's true.
Right? Nowadays,
Yeah. You're lucky to get a bed in.
you're lucky to get down the pavement.
It's bumper to bumper traffic
Yes.
along that road.
Yes.
But,
So this is all about patients, bedpans, all sorts of stuff.
and look at that, they used to strap you down.
Yes.
The original nil by mouth. And the old drips.
Yeah, that's for gastroduodenal, or suction apparatus. But yeah, drips. I mean, I started work in 1971, and your drips were glass bottles, and your blood was in glass bottles. There was no such thing as packed cells. What you used to do is you used to turn the bottle upside down, let the red cells settle. That's what they were going to use it for, and the nurse had to very carefully carry it up, hook it up, and then when it got to the plasma, they turn it off.
When you just played the ghost car, could you do it again? Thank you. Keep lighting it. Keep lighting it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your efforts. Use all your energy. You can use ours if you need to. Play the music for us. We come in respect. It will not hurt you. All it will do is play the music that you just played.
Can you touch it one more time for me, please?
Keep touching it. How you're lighting it up. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Could you do it one more time for us? I know it's hard work. You're touching it. Just give it another go for us. Thank you. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Play the music, please. I really appreciate your efforts. That's it. You're doing fine. You're doing a great job. Keep lighting it. If you light it one more time. Thank you. Keep going. I can see you touching it. I really appreciate it.
Can you try and touch it one more time?
Quick. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Are you happy we're in your hospital or in your house? Did you live here in this house? If you did, can you light up the car? Were you a patient in that bed? You were a patient in this bed? Did you die in the bed? Are you attached to one of the dummies here? Are you attached to the patient in the bed? If so, light it up. Or are you attached to the matron, the nurse? You're attached to the nurse. You're looking after your patient still? Can you confirm that by lighting it up for me, that you're a nurse? Someone moving too. Thank you. So you're still looking after your patient in the bed. So you're attached to the nurse's dummy here. Was that your uniform? Are we disturbing the patient? If so, you can light it up. We're not disturbing her. Did you study here? No? You actually worked here. Are you one of the doctors? One of the doctors that lived here? If you're one of the doctors, can you light it up for us, please? Are you female? If you're female, can you light it up for us? If you're male, can you light it up for us? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put different toys down. That way you've got some options. Thank you so much for your help today. This is a little cat ball. And I'm going to put it on your patient here. And you can touch that, or you can touch the car. That's just me lighting it at the moment. And I'm going to put one on the bedside table here as well, if you're moving around the room. And I might put, oh my God, I've got no phone on me. Look at the energy. Is there any power lines or anything?
I don't know. Shouldn't do.
'Cause that's going right up to red.
There must be something in here.
It's dropping here. But there's nothing connected. There's not even a phone line. That's so weird. And that car's still going off. Could you light it up one more time for us, please? Really appreciate your efforts. I might have to turn that off, hey?
That turns off and back on again.
Because it's gonna just make us look like dummies. And last but not least, I've got one more REM pod you might like. Could you light up the car one more time? I can see you really trying, and I really appreciate it. Give it one big touch. You can use our energy if you need to, and make the music again for us. That's it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You're doing really good. Right, so this is, I'm going to put, where could I put this REM pod? Maybe next to here. Now that's just me. There's no phone connected. So this one is going to do the same as the car. So you can choose which one you'd like to touch.
Well, you've touched the cat balls for me, please.
You can light up one of the cat balls if you prefer. But you seem to be fascinated in this car. Keep going. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's the first time we got the ghost car going. So that goes to show how much energy is in this place. And we don't know if there's someone that lived here, if it was one of the doctors. Seems to be attached to the the nurse here, not the patient, but yeah. Yeah, he's in. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow.
Nearly played the whole song for us. Thank you so much. You must like that device. Shall I just put the ghost box on?
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, sir or madam. You gonna do it again? You gonna do it again for me? Come on. I'd like to see you do it again. Can you do it again for me?
Do you recognise I was a nurse? That's why you're responding to me. Thank you, whoever's talking to me.
Stopped. It has.
Alright, what I might do, that's going to go.
Okay, it's gonna go again. You gonna do it again for me?
You want to do it one more time for us? Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for letting us know that you're here. Are you happy we're here?
Can you touch the other REM pod over there for me, please?
You want to try that REM pod? Or you just like the car?
Or you like to touch these cat balls?
I was thinking, do you want to set that up and see if we can find out who's talking to us? Yep. We're just going to put another device on now and you can have a voice. You can tell us who you are. We're interested to find out who you are.
Scanning FM. Scanning AM.
Hello, is anybody here?
Brown. There's someone called Brown here.
So can you tell me your name?
Did it sound like Sigmund? And there was a Sigmund Brown that was a doctor that lived here.
Is that you, Sigmund Brown?
It is, thank you. So you're still looking after your house? Be quiet. There's people here.
Who else is here?
How many spirits are in this house? Advice for me to let me know that it's you. Could you light up a device to let me know it's you, Dr. Sigmund Brown? Any device? Thank you. But thank you so much for confirming that, Doctor. The doctor's here. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. How old are you, sir?
Only young. If it's you, Doctor, can you tell us the year you passed? Or could you tell me the year you were born? Do you like this car? What nationality are you, doctor? Swedish? You said something about a Swedish doctor, didn't you?
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So, doctor, are you still here looking after your patients? Or are you here with your family? Is any of your things here? Thank you. You like riding that device. You're thrilled in the car. Thank you. Do you want the necrophonic for a while? Doctor? So who is here in this house with us? Who's lighting up the car?
Go. No.
So I understand you're a gentleman. What's your name?
Can you touch it again?
Are you here working? Or do you live here? My name's Julia, I come in respect, and this is Jason. Is this your home? Cool. We come in respect being here. We're just trying to work out if you live here or you worked here. So, are we talking to Dr. Brown? How many spirits are here? Is there more than 4? Oh, I got a nurse to see if you're okay. So who is lighting up the car? Could you light up another device to let us know you're here? There's cat balls here, or another REM pod over there. I appreciate you lighting up the car, but could you light up a different device, just to let us know you're here? I really appreciate it. So you're Dr. Brown Senior? Or you're Dr. Brown Junior? Yes. You're a very intelligent man. Are you attracted to all these things here? It's keeping you here. Wow. Okay, could you tell us what my name is? What year did you live here? Is there an attachment on the dummy, the nurse dummy? Or the patient in the bed? Or you're attached to something else? There's a lot of equipment here.
Can you show yourself on camera?
Is this a hospital or a house? I can see you. I've got that. Can you see me? So if you could see me, could you light up a different device? Just to confirm what I'm saying. Maybe not the car, maybe the cat ball. Could you light a cat ball up for us? You just prefer the car? You prefer the car? Fair enough. If you can see me and Jason, can you light up any device? Give it a good light. Thank you. That was a great response. Really appreciate that. That was right on cue. Thank you. Are you stuck here? Or are you here by choice?
Okay, I'm in here on my own. Can you light that up for me again, please? Can you show yourself on camera? Are you attached to anything over here? There's some orbs flying around here. Wow, that was a good one. Can you touch that, like the Ghostbusters car again? Can you do that? I'd like to see you do it, please. One more time. Whoa. Thank you very much, okay. Thank you so much. So you're the doctor here, are you? Wow. Can you touch anything in here besides, can you touch the other REM pod up there? For me, please. Wow. My name is Jason. I do come with respect. Wow, look at that. Do you like living here? Do you like it? Can you set it off again to show me that you like it here? Can you do that for me? I'm going to put the other REM pod up here. That's just me. There. There. Okay, now I've got two of them there for you. Can you set one of them off? Can you do that? You going to touch it? Go for it. Can you do it? Can you do that for me, doctor? Can you set it off again for me? Can you do that for me again, please, Doctor? If you're the doctor here, can you set it off again for me? Oh, where'd you go? Okay, move it away from me then. This one. Put it back up here. How's that? Are you still here? Can you tell me that? Oh, okay, you're back. Can you set, here we go. You going to set it off again? Thank you. Did you follow my wife downstairs? Did you? Okay, you didn't. So you're walking around in here, are we? Is that what you're doing? Walking around? So you're just walking around, okay. Are you trapped here? Okay, so you're trapped here. Do you want help moving on to the other side? So, if you can touch a cat ball or something like that, it'd be great. So it tells me that you need help moving on. Wow. We come in respect for you, sir. You done a brilliant job as a doctor. Can you set it off one more time and we'll try another room? Or I'll bring a different camera in here and I'll set it up for you to do whatever you want. Would you like that? A night vision camera? Do you like that we're here? If you like us, set the camera off. Or set the car off for me, please. Wow. That's Julia downstairs. Would you like to talk to the guy, the volunteer that looks after this place? If you do, can you set it off for me, please? Would you like him to come up here and talk to you? Can you make it go off? Play the sound for me? Please? Yep.
Thank you. So, and they were both born here. So, Walter, is it Walter Brown, whose middle name is Sigmund? Yes? It's you? Can you light it up again, please? Is it you that was born here? This would have been a bedroom, so you might have actually been born in this room. Were you born in this room? But you seemed to light up when I said Walter Sigmund Brown, who owns the cap, the sports cap. Is it you?
I want to.
You want to what? You can talk on this, you know. More than welcome to. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, John, I hear you won a lucky card game from the pub.
Prisoner.
Yeah. So is that who?
Prisoner.
You're a prisoner.
White.
White. So you buried here? No. Did you build this house? So am I talking to John Hodges that originally owned the house and the government took it off you for being sly, from what we hear? Your friend wasn't working in the courts that day. He got unlucky. You have a remarkable story. And yes, you were a prisoner, but you're a success story as well. You tried to escape, but you got brought back. And, yeah. So is this who I'm talking to? Can you say who your name is, please? My name's Julia. I come in respect. I know there was doctors living here in the Brown family, but I'm suspecting now that I'm talking to John Hodges, the convict that built this house. I'm sure you were proud of it. You must have been upset when you lost your house. So if you come back after you died to make sure that you never lose it again, you'll stay in your house for eternity. Yeah? If that's so, can you confirm it by lighting up the car if that's your favourite? Is it
Electric.
electric? Okay. So you find it fascinating because it's electric. Thank you for talking to us. Is there anything else you can tell us? Sorry. You really like this car, don't you? You really like this car. I got really good orbs before.
Angry.
Angry? What are you angry about? You're angry because you lost your house? It was your house, wasn't it? And then the government took it and the Browns moved in.
How did I die?
I'm not sure. I'd have to read. I know you went back to prison. Which one am I talking to? Can you give me your first name? Can you give us your first name, please? Right, we've got one last chance. What I could probably do, and I'm so sorry. You're going to light up the car again? Am I talking to John Hodges that originally owned this house? I heard you got the convicts to put diamonds on the house, and you won a card game from the pub. So am I talking to John Hodges or the doctor? Could you tell me in this device, please, what your name is? Could you? Don't. Okay. That's only going to map out the dummies, but I've really got it so you can see the orbs. Someone's here with me. Please light up the ghost car. Actually, no.
Hey guys, what we're going to do, we're set up in the operation area. So we've got the REM pod, you can see the REM pod light up over here, just over there, slightly to the right. Where the light is, over here, that's my REM pod set up. And over here, we've got 2 cat balls. So, hopefully, we might capture something in night vision. If you see anything or hear anything, guys, please put a comment down below. You may hear us a little bit later when we're doing some filming around the side. We're going to be coming up and doing some more filming, so you will hear us, and then we'll take off back downstairs. So anybody up here who likes to talk, I've got a microphone on here, they'll be able to hear you. If you want to touch the cat balls or the REM pod, that light, we have to just go near it. We hope to see you soon, guys. Cool, I'm going to close the door. Hey guys, it's just me. I'm just going to put ghost tube in here to see what words come through. About 10 more minutes. There you go. I'm back in 10 minutes.
In danger.
guys.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this special episode and the history of Brislington Museum. Big thank you to Fred Hetherington here for showing us around, telling us about the history of the museum. We caught amazing evidence, what can I say?
Even the Ghostbusters car
It
went
is,
off.
we've got the car to go off. But if you would like to have a tour of this museum, please contact this gentleman here, Fred. He'd be happy to hear from you. I will put the email underneath the video so you can contact him. If you're happy to hear from you and go from there.
And tell them that Jason Ghost Hunter sent you over.
And also, if you live in the area and you just want to check it out,
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's
Definitely come down.
fascinating.
So much to see.
We are open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But we do take groups on other days if they book ahead. You're more than welcome, and the team here are more than happy to show you around. And some of our volunteers actually lived here as young nurses 50 plus years ago. Thank you for joining us at Brislington House and Brislington Medical and Nursing Museum.
And thank
Talk
you
soon,
again.
guys.